Hey everybody, welcome back to the Comic Wall. It's me, the Outcast Angel, and today let's talk about issue 8 of Evolution. Now, in this issue, we finally get more structure into everyone's answers, into what everyone is looking for, and we're getting a step in the right direction, and in Abraham's sense, the wrong direction. But we're getting somewhere with these guys. So we start off back in Quedlinburg, Germany, with Hannah and Juan, and our new character, Captain Rennekamp, who is the one running this whole little triage thing going on in Quedlinburg. And apparently he knows Hannah in some way. I think he was actually there the night that Hannah first witnessed this progresses. And apparently they've been looking for her. And so now that she's there, they're saying that they're welcoming her back into the fold or something like that. And I'm a little confused by that because it doesn't make sense. And so he's kind of showing them around the triage, around the base camp and everything. And he's saying how like we've managed to get the district of officials to evacuate the town or the city, and to get these people help, the people who are evolving, and at least the ones they can help. And so Hannah fires with like, and do these people know your cult was at the start of all this? And he's like, cult? You mean Cavalis? And we finally get a name for this group, or any group really. And he explains that whatever it may have been in the past, it's changed since you're running. How could it not? You were there for the beginning of this too. I imagine it changed you. And she responds with, "Yeah, it changed me. I found our true God," or whatever. And Rennekamp kind of goes into this spiel saying, "I never really bought into religion. I wasn't gonna worship a God who wouldn't show himself." And he's more interested in like the tangible things of life, the things that are proof of a higher order in some sense. And so he's like, but these people, and we see some of the evolved that he's referring to, these people touch something hidden. Cults, religions are built on faith, the unproven, but these people, they're proof. And as he is explaining all this, one of the evolved evolves further, I guess. I don't know what's going on here. I think they evolved wings of some sort, or maybe he's just grabbing onto the tent around him. But he sprouted something, and he's trying to get away, or trying to he's causing a big ruckus. So while they're distracted, Juan pulls Hannah aside and says, "Quick, this might be our chance to escape." But Hannah doesn't want to leave. She just got here. She's in the middle of getting some answers to some of the things that she's been going through, and she's not ready to leave yet. And so she also points out the wounds on her hand when she got shot, and she calls it stigmata, which is a phenomenon where people get wounds, birthmarks, or some kind of markings on certain parts of their body in I guess in alliance with the wounds that Christ received when he was crucified. And so she even says that stigmata, the wounds of Christ one. And this kind of like snaps him out of it. He's like, oh crap. And so she's taking this as a sign from God that she's supposed to be here. So we leave them for a bit to jump in on Mr. Hurley. And as we saw last issue, Claire and Rochelle made their way over to Mr. Hurley's residence. And so he answers the door, and he's trying to play dumb, but Claire fesses up saying she knows. And so pretty much he invites him in, and they want answers as to what's going on with Rochelle, with the way she's evolving, because obviously we know what's going on, but she doesn't. And I get a kick out of the bratty way Rochelle acts in this scene, because she walks in and she's like, "Is this what you do all day? Lounge around in jammers, sipping on whatever you paid too much money for? Watching reels of what was, because what is sucks." Like, geez, dude, chill out. Anyway, so they sit down and they start talking about what's going on, and Mr. Hurley brings out, no, Mr. Hurwitz, I'm sorry. Mr. Hurwitz brings out a book that has images of different kinds of evolved. And obviously this looks familiar to Rochelle and Claire, because when we first met Mr. Hurwitz, he killed an evolved. And so that's kind of where Claire at least got involved with him. And so he sits down and tries to answer their questions, and he's explaining that he and Rochelle are part of something beyond themselves. The world is changing, humanity is changing into something we never saw coming, something greater. But obviously Rochelle doesn't want any of this, so she's like, is there any way you can, fix this? She's like, and Mr. Hurwitz says, there's nothing I can do for you, but there are those who can. And so he offers he offers to take them there, but it's going to be a drive. Now we jump back to Hannah and Juan back in Quedlinburg, and Captain Rennekamp has taken them to a mobile command center, I guess. And so Captain Rennekamp continues with, explaining what's going on here. And he shows Hannah a picture, or either a still of a video or a picture of her when she was at that place where she first witnessed progresses. And so she freaks out. She's like, where did you get that? And fucking Rennekamp just says, sorry, should I have said trigger warning or something? The way you compose yourself, I didn't think it would buck you. And so she brushes it off. But she this is obviously helping her make sense of what actually happened then. And so Captain Rennekamp promises her, saying, I'm going to answer all your questions. Let me help you. So that's the last we see of them for this issue. And now we jump into Abraham's story, where he's showing Frank, and as we saw, Frank was an old CDC buddy of his, who he actually took hostage to get access to the CDC. And so he's showing him a video where he has one of his experiments tied up, and he injects this man with the serum that he's been working on, and it causes whatever evolution he has to just burst out of him. It just causes it to run wild. But at the end of this video, he ends up shooting his experiment, as he calls it. He doesn't even call it a man. And Abraham's become really desensitized to this stuff, because he's trying so hard to get this, to stop this if he can, and he doesn't even know if he can, to be honest. And so with his hostage, he he manages to get into one of the laboratories, and he sits down Frank and has him work out a map to show the different types of the similar symptoms that these evolved have been showing, to see if anyone has reported it, and to see where in the country it's been reported. And so while Frank is doing this, all the while keep being underwatched by Abraham's explaining, saying that the bug isn't even hiding anymore. Is it too late? Is it infected? Has it infected enough people that we can't stop it? It doesn't behave like any organism or virus. It's something else. It hasn't spread. Everyone has it. And so yeah, that's basically the idea of evolution, is that it just kind of happens. It just kind of, it's not so much spreading as it is becoming what it is. And as Frank finally pulls up the map and the pattern as to where this, I guess, where the symptoms started and where it's growing, I guess, Abraham's looking at the map and saying, it's moving east. Now we know where it comes from, and now I know where I have to go to try and stop it. And so he has Frank printed out, and I'm a little confused here, because it looks like he's gonna let Frank go, but he's still pointing his gun at him. And we saw the last time he's pointed a gun at someone that we thought he was gonna work with. Abraham's looking at this map. Frank takes advantage of the distraction and throws the chair he was sitting on in Abraham's face, and it fucks him up pretty good. I'm hoping he's not too hurt, because I want to see where his story goes, Now we jump back to Mr. Hurley, and he makes a phone call to these evolved that he's been in contact with, and he tells them that I'm coming up 2 guests, one evolved and one freshly evolved. And so the person Maxwell, no, well, no, the person he's talking to is he's obviously very happy about this. He's excited to see him, and he's happy about this news. And so the issue ends where we see this, I guess, priest in this in his robes and with that weird face mask looking thing that we saw in issue 1, and he's sitting on some kind of throne that I can't tell if it's just designed that way or if he's sitting on an evolved, because we see some feet, we see some hands and arms, and it's just a mess. Whoever or whatever that is, they're not having a very good time there. And so that's the end of this issue. And I was also lucky enough to get a letter printed in this issue again. And so it starts with, "Hello, hey Evolution team. I'm so damn glad I get to have some closure after last issue's ending and making me wait two whole months. Really, y'all can't do that to me. But I understand things are busy. I'm thoroughly confused about Hannah. Welcoming her back into the fold. Did she lose her memory or something? Her storyline may actually start to make more sense. Abe is really going off the rails. But as far as he's concerned, the world is going pretty crazy too, right? Claire and Rochelle are a pair of couple goals, aren't they? I love their storyline, and I'm absolutely relieved by Rochelle's calm nature through this. Can't wait for next issue. See you there, whatever. And then John Meissen, the editor of Evolution, responds with, "Thanks for writing in, Andy. Sorry for the delay between issues 6 and 7, but hopefully you'll agree it was worth it." As for Hannah, hopefully this issue helped to illuminate a little of her past and what it means for the present story. I think of all the characters, Hannah has the most interesting journey to go on. That being said, things are going to get pretty bumpy for Abe. For Abe, Rochelle, and Claire. Hashtag sorry not sorry. Jeez. And Christopher Sebela, the one of the writers of the series, responds with, "Hi Andy, glad you're as damn glad as we are to be back, since things are really gonna go super sideways now in the most glorious mass of twisted metal and broken human glass you ever did see." Jeez, what a description. That's our plan anyhow. Abe definitely to me represents the worst case scenario of that, which is probably why he's so fun to write. In a deeply messed up way, of course I would never laugh and spin on my fingers together while constructing his dissolution along with the world itself. That would be wrong. So obviously we know that Christopher is the one possibly writing was it Abraham's story. So because as we know, there's several writers on this series. There's James Asmus, Joseph Keatinge, and Christopher Sebela, which we've only really heard from Christopher Sebela, but we haven't really heard from the rest. But that's the end of this video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys liked it, and if you did, drop a like, show the love, hit that subscribe button to get more of my videos, ring the bell to get notifications of when I post new videos, so that way you guys stay updated and don't miss out. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.